Sasi, do you want to introduce yourself? Say who you are, what you've done, the huge.
Yeah, I guess hey, my name is Sasi Kanth and I'm a Android engineer and also basically on which I do like about building apps and web related stuff. And yeah, I guess that's about it. Like I work for a company called Compose and yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess.
When you've built more Android apps in your free time than I've built web apps at my paid work, like you've done an incredible amount of like side projects and like I don't know. I just feel like you've been developing in Android longer than I've been talking. And like you're not like that much older than me or anything. So like
Yeah, I mean, I guess I have got introduced to the Android related stuff like because like I don't know, like probably because of the ad, I got more encouraged to doing that. I guess like
mhm.
it has been teaching me like a lot of cool stuff, and I kind of like this design and UI and UX elements of creating the app. So like I guess like that helped me kind of motivate me to build more side projects and work on those things. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. When I started working on Git Shark, I felt like I had more like more energy to work on the project when Ed joined the project. Because it went from like this ugly half broken thing that no one ever wanted to use to this ugly broken thing that no one wanted to use that was very pretty.
So it's still an ugly like
well,
you
it's still broken, but that's my fault. That's not Ed's fault, you know. So, you know, like, there's only so much you can ask for in an app. It's either pretty or it's functional, right? I can't give the users both. That would be too much power.
yeah, I get. I don't know, like maybe with Compose, like maybe you would find it interesting and maybe you can create a good looking app and fast as well.
Yeah, yeah. That'll be hype. Alright, so let's see.
But fun fact, like Compose is not only for Android, like it's also available for desktop as well with
Huh.
JetBrains things. So yeah, that's interesting.
So, wait, does that mean that Jetpack Compose can run on iOS as well?
Not yet.
Okay.
I don't know, like if it ever going to be that thing because I don't know, like who is going to pick up the fact that JetBrains have been kind of investing in Compose, like supporting for Android team with like Kotlin features and Kotlin compiler features, things like that, and also investing in. So and they have been recently hiring people for Compose multi-platform things. So
That's interesting.
where that clip, but yeah, like at this point, like Compose just published in the alpha and Compose Android is in beta now.
Okay, cool. See, I didn't know that there was a Compose desktop. Because I knew that Compose was like this reactive frame. I actually, I guess let's start there because I think I kind of jumped the gun. Let's, for the audience, let's explain what Jetpack Compose is and like what are the advantages to what a typical Android app might look like. You know, like an Android app before Kotlin or like, you know, using XML and whatnot.
Yeah. So basically, Jetpack Compose is this Android toolkit. Like I'm reading it off from the website. Like it's a modern declarative UI toolkit
Mm-hmm.
that is unbundled from the Android platform itself. So what previously used to happen is like every time there is a we need to use certain qualitative UIs, like we used to use the views and like other components from either material library or like the Android platform itself or app compact, things like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
What happens is like those depend on the platform variants of those components. So if there is something broken in Android version, I don't know, like probably 5 or 6, like something like that, like it's harder to fix those things, right? Because it's part of the platform, and they cannot just fix those elements in the previous versions of it. And like Android is notorious for not having regular updates as well, right? So it's kind of hard for Android team to kind of fix those view related issues and ship those updates as well. So they have created this unbundled UI toolkit that is declarative in nature and also completely uh, not com I mean not completely, but rather unbundled from the platform itself. So they can ship updates much quicker to this and resolve issues much quicker. And yeah,
Awesome.
and from the declarative side, like it's like any other declarative UI framework in nature, like I don't know, like Flutter, React, and Vue.js, like things like that. Uh, it's basically just a declarative UI framework. So yeah, that's about it.
Gotcha.
And as per fastness, like there are several optimizations that both Android and Kotlin compilers have made so that like it's much more quicker to kind of recompose the entire layout and rebuild it depending on the state. So yeah.
Gotcha. Admittedly, I think I can't tell, but I think we actually lost the first half of this conversation because I am a bad live streamer who doesn't understand, or rather, OBS is a jerk. Well, because like, hang on, let me double check something. Can you say something?
Yeah.
Hang on.
Hello.
Can you say something?
Yeah. Hang on. Hello. Is that fine?
Can you say something? Yeah, it seems good now.
Okay.
But yeah, OBS, like, it never wants to track my desktop settings. I need to remember to check that in the future. Anyway, so I apologize about that. And actually, let me turn it on.
Not a problem.
But yeah, we did catch a fair bit about... Yeah, thanks, OBS. Thank you. Right, boo-boo. But yeah, no, like you were saying, Jetpack, it seems like it's an interesting abstraction away from, like, the base system. The way that I heard it described, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this, but I heard it described almost as like what React did for the web, or like React frameworks, Angular, Vue, whatever, is very similar to what Jetpack Compose is doing for Android development. Is that like kind of the same way that you see it, or do you think that there's like a different perspective you might offer?
No, like I think that's pretty much what it is. Like even in like while announcing it, like Android team has emphasized that they took inspiration from the existing declarative UI frameworks like React, Vue, and Flutter, like even Flutter as well, to create something like this, like for Android native Android UI framework. So yeah, like I think that sums it up pretty much. Like it's pretty much a declarative UI framework that's similar to React or Vue for building native Android UIs.
Super cool. So I actually don't know what the technical definition for a declarative or is it declarative UI or reactive UI?
It's a, I guess like it depends on like whoever we are talking to, but I generally prefer to say it as declarative UI. I guess like I got pretty much used to that.
Gotcha.
From Flutter and Jetpack Compose as well and SwiftUI as well.
Gotcha.
But,
so
yeah, like
I thought the pattern there was like, if like let's say that we have data in memory and we want to represent it in the view or the page or whatever, right? My understanding is that when you update the data in your like folder, what like wherever you store your data, your model, it will then update the view automatically without having you to explicitly call that code in some way. React is a little different. React kind of has some explicit calls to update the UI, but it's more abstracted away. But is that the same thing with Jetpack? Like, if you built an Android app before, did you have to manually update the UI every time you had data that updated?
yeah, like if you look at the like I don't know like if you have ever gotten a chance to work with the Android view system before, but like it kind of creates these imperative UIs, I guess, like each component tracks its state internally, and we have to manually update them, right? Like for text view, we have to call set text to update every time a text changes, or like we have to call like set check state to check a checkbox or something like that. Like
Right.
we have to manually change the state for it, like for image views and everything like that. But with this kind of new UI frameworks, like I mean, probably not new, but for Jetpack Compose, like essentially what it does is like it takes a data and creates the UI based on that. And
Awesome.
because Jetpack Compose compiler itself is fast in for sorry, Compose is fast for like recomposing the entire UI and like selectively recomposing them. Like it won't recompose the entire UI. Like it will intelligently pick like whatever changes have happened and just recompose those elements.
Right, right. Which
So
is like super powerful because now you don't have to worry about optimizing like, oh man, my whole page needs a refresh. You can just worry about like
yeah,
the tiny part of the UI that you need updated is being updated. That's really cool.
yeah. So yeah, like essentially, like we are now getting into our UI will become a function of our data, right? So
Hmm.
we can just pass our smallest data element that is required for the UI to render, and it will Compose will generate that particular UI.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
awesome. Well, shoot, this has been a super informative introduction into Compose. Like, I think I understand a bit more. Some of my questions have been answered. How do we spin up a project? I know we're doing our call on Discord, so I shared my screen with you over there, so you don't have the 10 years of stream delay that Twitch imposes.
yeah,
Do you want to show us like how we can get started with a new project with Compose?
yeah. Like you can just click on the new project
Okay.
button, and firstly, like to use Compose, like currently we have to use Android Studio Canary to get some of the IDE related things, like some of the warnings or previews and things like that.
Hmm.
But and it's a but with extra asterisk mark. Like we can use technically we can use Compose on a stable Android Studio as well, and we can ship it to production as well. But yeah, like it doesn't have some of the auto completions or code warnings, and yeah, not a great set of IDE features. So yeah,
Gotcha. So it's not
uh,
necessarily recommended to use
yeah,
for production applications quite yet.
yeah, not yet. So we can click on the empty compose activity,
Okay.
and pretty much there is at the top, like it is at the top, right beside empty
Oh,
activity
basic
and
empty
empty compose.
compose.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and press next.
Okay.
And yeah, like just give it a name or something. And
What type of app should we build?
I don't know, like hmm. You know what? Like let's build some kind of like list views related thing, I guess. Like I want to show you how simple it is. Have you ever worked with a recycler view before?
I haven't worked with Recycler View, but I'll tell you, even doing like list detail views is like 90% of the applications I've had to build for web. So like
Okay.
there's a surprising level of complexity, and if Jetpack Compose can impress me with its list views, then I will be sold.
Okay. Yeah. Then let's go with that, I guess. Like maybe let's not jump into animations or anything as of yet.
Okay.
But yeah.
I'm gonna call this the package name Ultra List View because of course it's gonna be Ultra. The name package name will be dev.oceanbit.ultralistview. Heck yeah. Should I keep the minimum SDK at 21?
Yeah, like
Okay.
you know what? Let's move it to 23. Like 21 must die. So yeah.
21 must die. All right. So
Yeah.
this is your IE11. When I'm chancing die IE11, you're chancing die API 21.
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff. All right. Actually, let me so it's generating the files, but what I actually want to do is for the stream to be able to read this a little bit better. Let me go. Hang on. What I can do is I can tell JetBrains IDEs to like be larger, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I guess like you can press the Control Alt S to change the font size, perhaps.
Well, so it'll change the screen size, but it won't
Oh,
change
okay. You
the
can go to the
size.
presentation mode then, right?
Oh, is there a presentation mode?
Yeah, like just press on Shift Control Action, like find an action and enter presentation mode. Shift Control A.
Shift Control what letter?
Shift Control A, Apple. Yeah.
Yay?
Yeah. And presentation mode.
I'm missing. So I think I'm doing something wrong here.
Yeah. Okay. Like probably just go to view and enter presentation mode. Then.
Yeah. Here we go.
View appearance and enter presentation mode.
Yo, I didn't know about this feature. Yo, this is awesome. Now, how do I access the side nav?
You can press Alt 1.
Alt 1?
Yeah. Try that.
Yo, okay.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Whoa, I didn't even know this was a thing.
Like along with along with Compose, I'm teaching you shortcuts as well.
Man. Well, because, like, you know, I use so many different IDEs that, like, it can be difficult for me to keep in mind, like, I don't know, like, this is really cool.
If you're using JetBrains IDEs, like, pretty much these shortcuts are same for every other JetBrains IDE. So,
yeah, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Like, at work, like, I use these shortcuts a lot, so I kind of form this.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, awesome. So it seems like Gradle is doing its usual download index, you know, cycle.
Yeah. It's going to take a while.
That was my bad for not doing this off stream. I just didn't know what to work on, and I'll be honest. So we're doing our stream at like 9:30 right now, and I had just woken up at like 9, and I was like, oh man, it's too early. And the worst part is that Sasi is doing the same thing on the other side of the world, doing, oh god, it's too late, because it's like 11 p.m. for him right now.
Yeah, like I usually don't stay up this late, I guess, like I'm an early sleeper, so yeah.
Well, we really appreciate your time, so thank you so much.
Yeah, not a problem.
And if you need to get going, we totally understand. I can fumble through the docs, not as well as you can teach me, but I can maybe probably figure something out by stumbling through the docs and making myself miserable.
Maybe that will be more entertaining. Let's see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yesterday
so
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, while we are building this, like, oh, Ed has joined. Like, I don't know. Ed hates Compose for some reason, but yeah.
Wait. Ed says it's a language, but it's not a language. It's a framework, Ed, unless if I'm wrong.
Yeah. See, like, yeah, like, he doesn't know what it is, but he hates it.
Yeah, well...
Because he don't know it.
he hates React, too. He's like, Corbin, you can't do this in React? Ugh, it's worthless. Like...
Yeah.
We need to build, you and I need to get together and we need to build a framework just for Ed, and we'll call it the Ed programming language or something. I
think for Ed it's much easier for just Figma. Like it has to be like Figma, like you just have to drag and drop things and it should work.
Well, you know what's funny, we're gonna get on a tangent here, but like while it's indexing, is that like I think that a lot of these no-code UI tools are getting really good nowadays. Like, honestly, if Figma worked, like, I could see Figma going into no-code in the future and pulling it off relatively well. Because if Ed was able to just be like, here's your UI, Corbin, all the code's generated for you, I would not complain for a second. Yeah, specifically with the interactive components, so, like, I mean, I think it would still require a little bit of custom dev,
like,
you know? Sorry, go ahead.
There are plugins available for this particularly now, like on Figma, like for Flutter, React, Vue, and like even Compose is picking it up, like because this declarative UI kind of made it easier for them to kind of generate the code as well, because it's no longer like we don't have to pick like what the component should like it's kind of like. For Android, like it traditionally, it has been really annoying to deal with view-related components because like there are several kind of platform variants and there are like different ways we can approach this and things like that. Like I feel like Compose will make it really easy in future to kind of code generation as well.
Right, and that's like kind of exciting. Ed's perspective, code bad.
Yeah.
All right.
Just get better, Ed.
Yeah, Ed.
You have to get better.
This became the Bully Ed live stream. Wow, this is an awesome live stream. I love it. Yesterday, Ed bullied me. Today, we're bullying Ed. It's great. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing he will snap at some point, that Ed guy. So does Kotlin have implicit returns?
What do you mean by that? Like the thing is, like with Kotlin, like since it's a statically typed language, I don't think it's possible. But you can return like any object, like Kotlin, for any Kotlin class, like it starts from any, so we can return it technically.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you mean like without placing a return statement? Like, I'm sorry, like I don't particularly know about that particular language.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, no worries. So there are some programming languages where, like, instead of having to do like return 12 or something like that, right? You can just have 12
okay.
at the very last line, and it will automatically return. And the only reason why I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, for Kotlin, it depends on like where we are calling that from.
Mm-hmm.
So for Compose, like we are not actually returning any composable widget or view, something like that. So we don't have to we don't have to place a explicit return statement at the end. But for other Kotlin functions, like if we are returning certain type, we do have to place a return. Sorry, we do have to place a return statement. And at the same time, like if you are using like lambda somewhere, like we don't have to place return there. Like we can just return a value at the end of the like at the end of the lambda.
Gotcha.
So that would automatically pick that, like it would automatically consider it as a return value.
Okay, gotcha. So
yeah,
because this looks very similar to like JSX almost, but like with a different syntax. Because like Surface seems to be like a component or a container of some kind. Now I've opened the definition. I've done horrible things.
like so that's a good thing actually. Like Compose has like for every Compose component that is available from material package or like from the foundation package, like there is a good level of documentation that is available because it's new and now Android team knows what's the advantage of having a good documentation. Like there is already a kind of documentation that is available for each component that will show us like what it can do and what are some of the examples. And they also have some predefined examples for each, like almost every component. That is, it makes it really easy for people to kind of go through that and jump right into it.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that's really cool too, because like in the past, my experience with Android dev has been control-click on a function, and instead of code, you have like really complicated machine bytecode, and like it's not documented super well. But like this actually looks really good because like it has like documentation included up here, and like you can read what the code is doing. So this is actually really cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
So.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you can open, like, I'm going to send one of the links, I guess.
Okay.
You know what? Yeah, maybe I should have prepared those links as well. Maybe
no
just open the developer.android.com and find the Jetpack and go to Compose.
Developer.android.com. All right. Something Jetpack Compose.
Jetpack at the top, like.
Oh, there we go. I totally missed it until I hit search. Should I start using Jetpack?
Jetpack and Compose. Like if you scroll to the top, like there will be Compose.
There we go. Perfect.
No, like at the top, Compose.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay, so. Basically, like if you view the docs and like what you need to know like is Jetpack Compose is built with the different layers in mind. So Jetpack Compose start with a foundation layer. That is the base element for creating any UI kind of component.
Okay.
And I think those are not available here. Like previously, there used to be some like a good definition of like how it would look like, but with the updated docs, they seem to kind of remove it from here. Ah,
They probably, like, one of the things they probably did is they probably started with more advanced usage early on, and then as the platform became more mature, they probably made it easier to get into for newcomers.
yeah.
That's usually how
You know
I
what?
see this works. What's up?
Go to maven.compose.com. I guess like I'm going to just explain in terms of like packages.
Maven dot. I typed it wrong.
Google.com.
Okay,
Maven.google.com.
sorry. I had the word compose stuck in my head. All right, and then
So,
I'm like
like,
searching for compose.
Yeah, there is search for an artifact at the top, so just enter compose. So yeah, like compose the important aspects of compose are the compose compiler and the compose runtime.
Okay.
So compiler is like what actually generates, like allows us to generate these like I don't know, like allows us to generate the compose code, and runtime is like where it runs at, I guess. And so like there are other packages like foundation, material, animation, and things like that, right? Like they can created these uh, different packages that can be easy. Like we can pick at what layer we want to use those things. So we don't have to use compose material if we don't want to use material design. We can like just use the foundation and build on top of that and create our own entire design system and things like that.
Yeah, that's super
And
cool.
like yeah, same as like similar to the compose UI as well. Like compose UI is where our elements reside as well. So yeah,
So
but yeah, like sorry, go ahead.
on top of material, are there other like are there any community packages that build on top of compose to provide their own like UI runtime, or is it too early?
Not yet, I guess. Like
Okay.
it's too early.
Yeah,
Like
because I couldn't imagine
for
writing a.
compose runtime, yeah, like it is pretty complex, right? Like I've
Yeah.
explained, like it would like it would it knows when to recompose and it knows what not to recompose, like if something didn't change as well. So unless some team has a pretty substantial team, sorry, unless some company has pretty substantial team to dedicate this kind of thing, I don't know, like it seems pretty far-fetched at the moment. So
Yeah, because I was gonna say, like, Ed and I are working on a UI library for like React, and like even though the ecosystem is stable, that's difficult on its own. I could imagine trying to keep up with like betas and alphas and this and this and this and stuff like that.
yeah, exactly. Hopefully I have explained everything correctly
Yeah.
as per the runtime and the compiler. Let's see.
So
But yeah,
I'm honestly curious how the life cycles work, because I'm very familiar with how life cycles work with, like, say, a React API, but I
Yeah.
honestly have never seen what the life cycle is like for something like this. Like, is there still like a
so just scroll to the top a bit.
okay?
So there is this diagram of composition, composable, and leave the composable function, right? Like it's pretty much that. Like composable, like pretty much has two kind of like life cycles. Like what they're expecting us to do is like they want us to create a composable function that is idiomatic in nature and essentially pure function. So no matter what we send the input, the output should always be the same, right? So for that particular reason, compose doesn't necessarily have a complex life cycle in nature. Like it's pretty much just a pure function. But the way they handle life cycles is a little bit kind of different, I guess. Like they use side effects for handling certain life cycle related things. For example, like for example, let's say we have started, like we want to load a certain amount of data when we start a composable screen, right?
Right.
Like we created our composable screen and we want to load some amount of data. For that, we can use launched effect. Like it's a side effect that will trigger a I don't know, a background call or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So what it does is like it takes in a key, and whenever that key changes, only then it will call the method inside it. So as long
Oh.
as that key inside it doesn't change, it won't call the method inside it. So
Huh.
like the way it kind of again, like the compose compiler knows like when, like compose runtime knows when it changed the key or not,
Mm-hmm.
because internally it kind of, I don't know if it keeps track of it, but it does know about that.
Gotcha.
So that way, like it only like, as you mentioned, like it only cancel and relaunch if the scaffold changes. Like scaffold is the key in this regard. But like let's say we have a key for our item ID, right? Like our list item ID. Like we have our list item ID like something like 10 or 15 or something like that, our position perhaps.
Right.
And as long as we are opening the same element, like as long as our compose function recomposes with the same positional element, like it doesn't necessarily cancel and relaunch it, right? So yeah.
Right. So is there a way to have launched effect with a key that will never change? Like so that it only runs once the component is rendered? Or I guess rendered is the wrong term. I'm still thinking of it like as React or something like that. So like once the composable component is displayed, is there a way that launched effect can only run once and only once?
Mm, I think like I'm not exactly sure. Like so the way this kind of triggers is like it doesn't wait for something to show up on UI or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So launched effect will just trigger start running as soon as like the function is entered.
Oh,
So
okay. So it doesn't actually have to be
so
shown on screen.
yeah, exactly. Like
Okay.
so I mean like technically like if the function is entered, like the UI will be shown, I guess. Like but uh, if you end up passing a key that is I don't know, a constant key, I guess, like you can place a constant element at a global level and
Right.
pass it on. But I don't know why we would want to do that necessarily, because like
Well,
if we want to load, yeah, like
the only thing I can think of is something like maybe a log wants to know what page you're looking at within an app, right? So you could have a launched effect that has this constant key here that only runs once the user has entered the page, and it increments some global counter or something along those lines.
mm, I mean, like I feel like there are other APIs to do that.
Okay.
Uh, like this might not be the, I don't know, like I personally feel like this might not be the good way to do that, because like we do have to remember that like uh, this kind of like we have to keep this kind of lightweight in a way, so
Mm-hmm.
that like we don't end up causing like UI freezes, right? Like this is a UI framework and not a data management framework. And like for that, like we can use other libraries like Mavericks or like view models or like Mobius, things like that.
Okay. See, I actually didn't know that. Okay. So because I guess that's a part where I'm thrown off as like a web developer is that like usually with something like let's take Angular as an example, right?
Hmm.
Angular is not just the view controller, it's the model view controller, right? So like you have what are called services, and services are able to share data between multiple different components and multiple different pages, and the view controller allows you to store and access data. It's MVVC, to be honest, because it's model view controller. But yeah, you have the ability to access all those. So I guess when someone whenever I had heard the term, oh, it's like React, it's like a reactive framework, that's how I initially thought of it, as being able to store state. But what you're saying is that we shouldn't store data in a composable function. This should only be
We
used to
can.
display UI.
So the thing is like we can save content in the composable functions as well, but we have to we have to be mindful about like what we are saving it, what we are saving in the function itself, right? Like let's consider an example of like our generating our list of items, right? We don't have to necessarily do it in the composable function, right? Because every time every time it recomposes, it will generate that list over and over again. It
Right.
might not be that efficient, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for that, like we can use in view, like for example, we can use in view model and generate the list there and observe the list as a state inside our composable function. Or like if it's a static list, like we can I don't know, like have it somewhere in the repository and like just uh, so okay. I think there is a better example for that.
Okay.
Uh, for just remember, like composable does allow us to just remember it once. So
Mm-hmm.
just have that function as like don't change unless
Like
it's meant to be.
like a
So
memoization.
yeah, so composable has this function called remember. So if we use that inside the like let me find where that is. Can you search for remember in this page once?
Yeah, I see two. There's member coroutine scope and member updated state.
Okay.
But I'm sure
So
there's
probably
something else.
check the managing. Yeah, probably check in the managing state.
Okay, here we go. Managing state.
No, no, there is the managing state in the
Yeah, yeah.
sidebar, right?
I just saw that after trying to search.
Yeah. So, like like here, for example, like we are showing uh, by passing the text as a parameter to remember, like uh, it will just it will just compute the text formatting only when the text is changed, right? So I think this is what you meant when you asked like if there is a single way, like only we can only run it one times, and I guess,
Right.
but as long as we are using remember, like it will try to not change. Like this is how compose kind of uh, figures how whether or not something changed essentially.
Right. Right. Makes
So
sense.
yeah, so
Um.
like
So someone said that it reminds them of React, but separating out with like Redux. Redux being like
yeah, yeah,
a global
exactly,
state. So
yeah,
that's
exactly.
interesting. Okay, super cool. We have a question. Should someone learn Android and iOS when we have React Native and Flutter that does both in 2021?
Um,
Ceci, you'd be able to answer that a lot better. I mean, you're kind of the native expert.
I mean, like I'm a little bit biased toward native Android development, but like I do work on Flutter projects and everything. But I feel like people should learn native development, like whether it might be one platform, but it is always better to learn native development because uh, there are a lot of like so Flutter and React Native apps kind of they are kind of good, but uh, it's always helpful to learn how kind of native development works as well,
Totally.
because that's like there is a huge market for native development, and like jobs wise, like that is great, and but also like in terms of knowledge wise, like these frameworks kind of comes and goes, but for example, React Native used to be popular, but now Flutter is popular, right?
Right.
But uh, yeah, like maybe in future some other framework comes along.
Well, so
But yeah, like yeah,
and it's not a one or the other. So a great example is my app GitShark, right? So GitShark started as just pure React Native. I was going to use JavaScript for everything, blah blah blah, right? And then I ran into issues where it would literally crash my app because I ran out of memory, and I could not, like literally impossible, to solve that problem using only JavaScript. So I had to rewrite most of my entire application logic. I had to rewrite it like 3 times until I finally settled on just screw it, we're writing it in native code, right? So, like,
Yeah,
even
yeah,
with React Native, if you are going to leverage the platform and you are going to use a lot of these things, until the ecosystem gets more mature and these frameworks build out more functionality, we're going to end up in situations where we need to write native code for a lot of these things. So I know that, Than, you had mentioned that Shopify moved to React Native, but Airbnb was a huge React Native shop, and they recently said, we can't do this anymore, we have to use native
yeah,
code.
yeah,
So
exactly.
I think that
And also,
there's...
like, if you,
Sorry, good.
sorry, Kobe. So also, if you remember, like, you have asked me like a couple of times about like something like how to do it in the native, because like React Native doesn't have that kind of support,
Yeah,
right? Like, because like in the end, like we do need to have kind of some kind of native knowledge, native development knowledge in order to uh, extend what these frameworks can do as well.
right. Yeah, no, Sesi has been an absolute lifesaver when it comes to Git Shark. There's been so many times where it's like I'm banging my head against the wall and I'm like, I don't know how to get this working, and it's like, dude, just use native code. It's not that hard, you know. So yeah, I definitely agree that, like, even if you do learn React Native or Flutter, they're much more useful on the UI front, but you still have to be able to know native code if you're going to be able to make this app, you know, like a fully featured professional grade application. So,
Yeah, yeah,
but yeah, awesome. I really like that they have, I don't know why, but I really like that, this is called Remember. Cause I always find like it's called Memo in React, and like it hurts my brain. Like, I don't know
so
why, but
there is a particular reason. Yeah, there is a particular reason for calling it. Remember,
Mhm.
so we can technically just uh, like just call the compute text formatting and call that method and use the formatted text as a parameter, right? But
Mhm.
like what happens is every time this particular composable function recomposes, it will compute the text formatting over and over and over again, right?
Right.
So that is not ideal in our day-to-day scenarios, because that can be expensive.
Right.
So for that particular reason, we have to tell the Kotlin runtime to remember this particular text, and whenever that changes, compute text formatting. So
Right.
essentially, that's what it is. So
Right.
remember the text and compute, like do something inside it only when the text, only when the key changes.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's super useful. Um,
Yeah.
So yeah, I just, because there's a super similar API that's like memoization, so I was just thrown off. Can you ask about something about npm packages that is pissing me off? Tell you what, Matteo. Just because I know that it's so late in the night for Sesi, let's hold off some questions about that until afterwards. And if I'm not able to loop around on them for this stream, totally feel free to ask in our Discord. So I will get to it. I just don't know if I'll be able to get to it on this stream. Because I don't want to sidetrack this stream too much for Sesi's sake. So, awesome. Well, where do we want to start? I think I have a. I mean, we've introduced some of the managing state. We've introduced some of the side effects that we can run in a function and life cycles. Do we want to do like a simple like list view? Do you want to show me how that works?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do that.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Actually, is there a way that I can't remember? Did they build in the
You know
like?
what? Like before we go on to that, can you go back to the
Yeah, totally.
documentation and open thinking in Compose?
Yep.
So if you scroll down a bit, like they have a section called declarative paradigm shift.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like I think, can you scroll down a bit further?
Mm-hmm. Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
The
like,
Sorry, I
yeah,
clicked on the thing, but then it didn't like take me there. My bad.
yeah. So essentially, like this is what they're recommending now. Like instead of our like combining all of those side effects, UI events, and data and everything into one single thing, like they are taking this, like someone mentioned about React and Redux pattern, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
something like this. Like they want to pass down the data from the top of the tree and
Right.
pass down the events from the bottom of the tree.
Right.
So
So we actually have something super similar in React. which is called the unidirectional data flow. So the idea is that you want to pass data from the very top, instead of having the data be cyclical. So like, it should look something like this, where the data is all bubbling up, the events are bubbling up, but then the data is being passed down in one way or another. So yeah, super similar concept.
Yeah. Like, so we can still have those unidirectional patterns. So that is recommended for like uh, on the business logic side of the thing. So we can have our side effects and UI events be handled in the unidirectional pattern, and whenever the state changes, we simply call the state change on our composable functions, and composable functions should only be used for rendering out our data, right? So yeah. So that kind of separates our any like allows us to use the suppression of concerns, and also better testing and better overall readability as well, maintainability.
Right, for sure. You know what? I would actually love to have you on a separate stream to go over testing patterns in the future. Because that's something I've always been curious about is native testing. Than mentioned, when it comes to the future of mobile, since web developers are taking over the mobile world now, do you think mobile web developers will be less demanding if they don't adapt to these technologies? My answer is I really don't believe that web developers are taking over the mobile world. Given things like Jetpack Compose, Swift UI, Swift UI in particular is really, really good at running code for both native and desktop, and I think the same thing is going to end up happening with Jetpack Compose. So I think go for it.
I do have one thing to say, like if you look at the PWA usages, like how many people are using those things now, like it is pretty rare that like to find people who use those kind of websites for accessing data, right? Like people kind of rely on the apps a lot, like unless your app, like you're just wrapping up your PWA inside app, like I don't think like it's that big of a deal. Like native development is not going anywhere anytime soon.
Totally.
So yeah, it's going to be relevant for a long time, because that's where we can achieve performance and also like pretty extensive community and library supports for both iOS and Android as well. So yeah, like yeah, I guess so. Like don't get me wrong, like the PWAs and websites are still like I feel like really great and kind of allows us to for quicker shipping and everything like that. But yeah, like it's harder to kind of use those instead of an app for like not only tech, like I think maybe tech savvy people will use that, but any common folk, I don't know, like prefer using an app more than using a website, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No,
and also Apple doesn't really support PWS, right?
Right, yeah. Apple has been a huge blocker for PWAs serving as like a replacement. And again, given even with React Native, having to eject to native code isn't a good time, like it can be an unpleasant experience sometimes. I think what we're seeing is almost a resurgence in native app development, to be honest. I think that people are like, oh, web this, web that, and like what's actually happening is that native, I think, has a much more stable API than the web. At least not the web vanilla, but like all the frameworks that are coming out constantly, blah blah blah. And I think that native is kind of looking at what the web is doing and refining it to a really, really, really polished point, because it seems like Compose and Swift UI, I like my limited experience with Swift UI was a super nice experience, right?
Exactly.
And I think that we're going to see more native app developers in the next 5 years than we have in the past 5 years. And I think a lot of that is because of the new technologies and how powerful they are for building native experiences, which are just unparalleled, like Sasi was saying. what is the highest pay a native developer can get? Quote, because I don't see native development evolving like the web does. Again, I don't agree with that. I think that native development is totally evolving. Quote, there must be a stop to mobile developers' salary, right? I think that I've seen, actually, to be honest, I think I've seen more pay in the past for native app developers than web developers. Where things get complicated is when you start getting into things like senior and like high level, like the problem is that a company can easily end up buying into native web development for everything, right? You can have web development for servers, web development for your apps, web development for your this and this and this. And when you end up consolidating all your code base in one place, the ability to have a high level position is much easier, right? Because you just have to know JavaScript perfectly. You know, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but like your ability to engineer doesn't require so much on syntax and like niche knowledge of very specific things. Although, of course, knowing specific things about let me back up. I think that engineering precludes the framework and precludes syntax and stuff. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with like, great example. If I was hiring for OceanBit, I would have no problem bringing Sasi on as someone like a management leader for our native apps, whether that would be desktop, mobile, anything like that. Because Sasi's engineering knowledge isn't just confined to Angular, or Android isn't just confined to Kotlin. His engineering knowledge exceeds those programming language, exceeds those syntax, and he's an incredibly talented engineer regardless of what tools he uses. He just may not yet be familiar with the syntax or the niche requirements, right? And because of that, I think that both native and web developers should be judged based on their engineering talents and not their knowledge of syntax, right? And what's funny is that, like, I've heard these exact arguments be used against web developers in the past, right? Oh, you only know JavaScript. That's a scripting framework. You're not a good engineer, you know? And I think it's interesting seeing that table turn, that like the public perception shifting a little bit. But I still think that, you know, Sasi is an amazing engineer. And just like, again, I think that native development has a lot of advantages. And I think that I'm very grateful that he is here to be able to teach me this, because it's going to make me a better engineer, even if I'm not using Jetpack Compose, because it's going to help teach me new models and paradigms that I can take and use for other things. So
and like about the pay related thing, like I think native developers are like getting paid right now really well. Like if you look at like I don't know, like even the big like not only the big companies, like even the smaller Silicon Valley companies or like any other places, like I think they have compensated fairly well. Like for me, it's the same thing as well. Like I don't think I'm being paid less than what I'm worth, but yeah. So yeah, and that seems to be good.
Yeah. So real-time object detection, are mobile apps capable of it? I think they are. I mean, we've seen AR.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, we've seen AR be able to do stuff like that for a while.
Yeah, they have machine learning model. Like we can ship our apps with machine learning models, and like we have our AR kit for iOS, and I think Google has something like related to AR as well.
Yeah.
So like and Google Firebase has the machine learning APIs as well. Like yeah, we can do that now.
And in fact, I think that AI is one of the places that native code makes the most sense, right? Because you need that raw computational power, and you're just not going to get it when you're in, like an environment like JavaScript.
Yeah.
So.
And also, like, if you're building something like that, like ideally you would want to access some of the, like, I think Pixel ships with these kind of, probably not Pixel, but like Android ships with these low-level APIs for machine learning and things like that, right? Like,
and those run in
I don't know
C.
if it's, yeah. So yeah, I think we cannot access those things from a web browser, as far as I know, right? Like we have to either build some bridges to be able to access that, which I mean, there will be a huge perform. Like I don't know how that would perform, but yeah.
Yeah, totally. Anyways, yeah.
All right,
Hey,
like
Sam,
I
take
think
care.
we can finally jump to code.
Yes, I'm
perhaps.
so sorry. I just wanted to address these questions because they're good questions, and I just wanted to make sure to give both you and the native platform their fair ground
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it's definitely deserved. So
yeah. I get it.
so yeah. So events up, data down, totally makes sense to me. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. You can just do for loops and whoa.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like it's so fucking easy.
Yeah.
Can I swear or not?
You know you're good. You're totally good to swear. No problem.
All right, yeah. So it's just so easy to just build UIs in the Compose. Like, oh my god, like if just search for recycler view, how to build a recycler view on Android. Like I think I can pretty much attest to that. Like building a recycler view for Android requires so much effort compared to what it is in Compose.
Right, right.
Yeah. So yeah, like let's get to it.
Awesome. So I assume we'll need a list of items. Should I set a list of items like at the root level?
Yeah, like you know what? Like let's create a new class for something. Like let's create a new class, I guess,
Yeah.
for data. Yeah.
So do we want to just call this class data?
You know what? Like why don't you install a new library for it?
Okay.
Let me just quickly find it and send you the link.
Because are you looking for something that'll? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go to maven.google.com
Okay.
and search for Compose again.
I can type.
And use the click on Android X lifecycle view model Compose.
Lifecycle. I swear I can read. There we go.
Lifecycle view model Compose.
I'm like so awful at reading. I don't understand what words are, man.
Yeah, and just copy that implementation like Gradle Groove VDSL, I guess. So, yeah.
Okay. And we'll put that
And
in.
build.gradle. Not that, the one below it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll
Go
put
to
that
bottom
here.
and yeah. Ideally place it above okay, yeah, it's fine, I guess.
Oh, sorry. Should I put it somewhere else?
No, we can put it in the dependencies block. Like it's just I usually just separate like all the test dependencies and the implementation dependencies as two different ways.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
How do you do that?
just place it below the activity compose thing, and yeah, that's it, I guess.
Oh, okay. So just put it like right
Yeah.
here. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got where I thought
No,
there was
that
like
is-
a way to have like multiple dependencies. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Like it's not like the right way to do it. Like it's just like what I prefer, I guess.
No, yeah. I mean, we have something very similar in JavaScript world where we have dev dependencies and actual dependencies. So makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
So now, yeah, like let's create a new. Let's go with Android view models for now, because like that is the simplest approach. Like name it like our which list do you want to create?
Sorry, you said Android view models?
No, like create a Kotlin file, I
Okay,
guess.
sorry.
And what do you want to call this screen?
Ultra items.
Naming is hard. Yeah.
There we go. And we'll just create a normal class, not a data class or anything?
Let's create a data class, I guess.
Okay, gotcha.
What do you want to show in this list?
Let's show list of places. That'll be fun.
Okay, so can we rename this ultra items to ultra item, just a singular item?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you press shift, like revert that change and press shift F6, I guess.
Shit. Oh, so just rename
Yeah.
it. Yeah. What have I done? There we go.
Yeah, and we can place a variable inside the constructor parameters. So data classes are like an immutable, like not an immutable, but like it essentially synthetical sugar on the our Java has this getters and setter classes kind of thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's basically synthetic sugar for that.
Gotcha.
But like yeah,
Awesome. So we can just
it's
put item here?
value classes. So we can have val.
Gotcha.
Yeah, val is a immutable variant and var is a mutable variant.
Okay.
I don't know if you know that, but yeah.
No, I didn't. Okay, that's super helpful.
Yeah, and yeah, like we can place some kind of name, I guess, like name, string, something like that. I didn't mention it. Just name it Nave Corbett.
Name it what?
Name.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And the type string. Oh my god.
Something like
it's like eating head.
I know. Is string capitalized or is it lowercase s?
It's capitalized.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then do we add these little curly braces?
No, it's fine. We don't have to do that.
Okay.
So essentially, like if you're interested, like if you press on tools.
Press on what?
Tools from the menu. Tools, menu bar.
Oh, okay.
Tools, menu bar, yeah. And Kotlin, show bytecode, Kotlin bytecode, yeah. And decompile.
Whoa.
So essentially, this is the Java representation of what we have written.
Whoa, this is so... I never knew about this.
Yeah, like this is a super helpful feature from the JetBrains IDEs. Like we can look at how Kotlin looks, like generates the how it would look Java-wise, I guess. So yeah, so this would kind of add this synthetic sugar to our Kotlin code. Like it would generate all these copy functions, get functions, setters, and like if we have a variable, like mutable variable, it will function. It will generate a setters and equals, toString, hash codes, things like that.
Wow, yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah.
And there's
all
even
right,
like the getters. Wow, okay, that's so cool. Sorry.
Yeah.
And
let's create a class for our ultra items view model.
Okay. Hang on. I gotta figure out how to turn this off.
No, you can just press that minimize option, right?
Oh,
like on the...
Cool.
Yeah.
And then... Okay,
create a new class called ultra items view model.
Okay. Ultra items list model.
You know what, like, what do you think about this particular approach? Like, should we just first go with a really dumb approach and kind of then go towards a, I don't know, like prefer like what Android suggests the approach?
Yeah, we can do that.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. Create a class called ultra items list then.
Okay.
Yeah, and make it a file. Okay, yeah. Remove that class name. No, entire class. Remove that entirely. Because we'll be using a functions, because this is composable functions.
Right.
Right, so yeah.
Okay.
All right. So let's create, like, we start by creating a composable function. So the way we do that is we create a function and annotate it with composable. At composable. So yeah.
Like that.
All right. Yeah. So that's it. Like now we have created our first composable function, right? Like let's try to generate a UI aspect of it, I guess, like elements. Did we generate a list of items?
I mean, we can,
no, right? So let's go to our ultra item class.
Okay.
And inside it, like, we don't have to use semicolons, by the way.
Oh.
There is no concept of semicolons. And just press enter, and on the next line or something like that, create a val property. Like, just give it a space or something like that. Another line. So this is a global variable.
Okay.
So this particular variable will be accessible from anywhere. Like name it as ultra items list. Start with smaller case, I guess. So yeah.
So sorry, am I calling it this?
Ultra items list, but just make the smaller u.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can use, like, now we can have, we can generate a list of items. So for that, we can just call it not like that.
I don't know how lists work.
So we can use equal to list of. So Kotlin has this amazing functions or like extension functions that we can generate. So no, we can use alpha item, right? We have created our class. So we don't have to use that. Yeah. So we don't have to use that type specific type there. So Kotlin can
Infer.
Yeah, infer the type of items that we are placing inside it. So we can call alpha item inside it, and it would automatically infer the type and set the type for the alpha item as well.
That's super
So
cool.
why don't you just place a couple of items there?
Name a place.
India.
Fair enough. I mean,
No, okay. You can place cities, I guess, like Delhi, like, I don't know, New York.
actually, is Delhi DHLI?
DLHI.
That's what it. Okay. I.
Yeah. No, one I.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
And New York.
Yeah. And one more, just for fun.
Yeah. London.
Yeah, I was trying to think of a city in the UK and I couldn't think of one. Look, geography is not my major, okay?
Yeah. So yeah, like it's like what we have created is essentially ultra item will be a class,
Right.
and ultra items list is a global
Variable.
accessible like variable. That's it.
Right.
Like if we were to consider this from the Java perspective, ultra items list will be inside a static class, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the Kotlin will automatically infer that, like, while we are using inside the Kotlin, and we can use that. But if we were to use this in a Java class, we have to call ultra item kt dot ultra items list.
Makes sense. Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. Now let's try to create a list. How do we do that? So
Okay.
if you look at if you have taken a look at the example before, like in the documentation, they have used the for loop, right?
You're right.
So, like, we can do that, but it would. So the way Kotlin renders the UI by default is like it overlaps on top of each other.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to use specific composable functions
Okay.
for it to render it. Like for rendering it as a column, we have to use column. For rendering it as a row, we have to use row.
Okay.
So let's start with a row. Sorry, let's start with a column because we want it to be vertical, right?
Right.
Yeah. So let's pretty much inside it, like we can use a for loop. So let's do this. Like instead of like writing a for loop, why don't we do this? So call the ultra items list and use dot for each.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, you just for each, like select the second one, like call the for like let it type ahead, I guess. Can you remove one more? Yeah, each I can select the second one. Yeah.
This one?
So,
okay.
Yeah. So
Oh, okay.
like now we are using the trailing lambdas for all of these functions, right? Like even composable works with like the trailing lambdas. Like that's where we have to do something with that particular data inside it, right? So yeah.
And
So
I
now
like
we
this.
can use-
This matches the syntax of like the lambdas that are being used for column and stuff. So I think that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Ed hates this particular thing.
Ed hates it. That sounds
Yeah.
about right. Because
Yeah.
it's code. He doesn't like code.
Yeah. So there are two ways we can access the data inside it. Like if you look at the hints it's giving, like it's saying it colon ultra item, right?
Right.
So we can if you can just select at the top of the curly braces at the start of, we can name it as ultra item, like and use that, like now we can call it specifically as ultra item. But if you remove it, Now, if you want to access, we can simply call it,
Gotcha.
and we will get the access to that particular item. So we
Gotcha.
don't have to specifically name it as ultra item.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So do we want to
So,
call
yeah.
that for now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just go with yeah. And now we want a text view, right?
Yeah.
So
Do we want to
let's
do a
just
row?
call text. It won't be a view, sorry. Yeah, let's just call it text. Yeah. And ultra item dot name. Right? And yeah, that's it. So
Okay.
if you run this app now,
Here, let
it
me.
won't do anything because we haven't placed the ultra items list in our like main view, I guess. So
Gotcha. Yeah.
open main activity and just replace the greeting with ultra items list. Invoke it.
Okay, I've done something horrible.
Just revert that change. Yeah, like because it's a function, right?
Yeah.
Just remove the as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So because it's a function, we just have to invoke that particular thing.
And I can
So
get
if
rid
you
of this,
run
right?
the app now, yeah, we can. And the preview, we can change it to ultra items list, I guess. So the preview is specifically for the IDE preview, but we can remove it entirely as well.
Oh, okay. Here, let's build, and we can generate a preview. And I'm sure my computer is going to poop itself. Because it's going to go, no, I don't want to try this hard, please.
Yeah.
You're expecting me to transcode video and build an app? Nonsense. One at a time. So, okay. Are we just gonna hang out and wait for this to? There we go. Wait.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's going to take some amount of time, but it says like right now it's pretty simple, but a more complex layer. So the thing we have to remember is like I think probably Corbin can attest to that as well. Like similar to React or like any declarative UI, like we should not be nesting a lot of components inside each other.
Right.
Like ideally we should be extracting out them into smaller components to avoid that particular problem. Because like as soon as we have start nesting them deep, like all the items are way deeper, like obviously it will get like it won't be readable anymore, right? So yeah. You know what? Like, let's just run it in your device, I guess. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say this is not having it today. All right, so we'll do run.
And you have clicked on interactive mode as well.
Oh, what have I done?
Yeah, it's going to take some time.
All right, well, I have it running now, which means that
I think
it'll.
you can use a scraper or visor to show the device as well.
Let's see, is it going to actually show the build? Yes, it is. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this is going to take 5 years. What have I done? I've done something horrible.
And I want to end the live stream.
Yes, he does. Okay, so I got an interrupted exception, which means something.
Can you open the build once?
Build was canceled. No, wait. Task failed. No Dex. What?
Okay, this is not ideal. What Kotlin version are you running? Can you check tools Kotlin?
Yeah. Hang on. Stop interactive mode. Okay, tools Kotlin. REPL.
Configure Kotlin plugin updates. Check again. Okay, yeah, we are on latest version.
Okay.
And this is weird. Can you expand the build window a little bit? This is not.
Hey, look, the interactive mode works.
That is our list. Yeah. You can stop the interactive mode and it will still show the list view. So,
okay, cool. Do we want to just leave this alone and just use the interactive mode?
Yeah, you know what? Like, can you expand the build window a little bit? Like, I want to see like what the.
So just run build again.
No, like, can you expand the build window a little bit? Like, I
Oh,
want to
yeah,
see
yeah.
what
Sorry.
error was. Yeah.
View. I got this.
Yeah. You know what? Like, can you open like find actions and like disable distraction mode?
Yeah.
I think appearance, like view appearance.
View.
Oh,
I'm not in distraction mode. I'm in presentation.
like I think like it's being okay. Yeah, just go back to presentation mode. Like it's way too small now.
Okay. That's what I thought. No worries. Oh, no.
What happened? Okay.
Hang
Where
on.
is the build window?
There we go. So it seems like merge build failed.
Can you scroll down a bit?
Yeah. Build canceled? Maybe I accidentally canceled it. Let me retry.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And watch as the stream goes down again, because apparently last time I ran build, the stream died.
Yeah.
Oh no, I can see myself lagging. Hello, Pixel.
Not good.
I have like 10 whole frames right now because I hope my stream is not like dying right now.
Oh my god. What is your computer specifications?
Well, it's probably my CPU is the problem right now.
Okay.
Because I have a, what do I have, a 1600? I have a pretty low end Ryzen.
Okay.
Hey, okay, the
Alright.
build worked. Cool.
Yeah, now we can run it, I guess. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's probably because you were trying to do a lot of things at once that
Right.
it failed.
Okay, screen copy. Now it's not showing up on my phone.
Pixel Pirate has joined stream.
Who has?
Pixel Pirate.
Oh yes, Pixel is awesome. Android Studio Canary is a great memory hogger. His PC is just an iPhone 4S. Oh, that's very funny.
Like
My antivirus might be impacting me.
yeah, probably.
No coding on the Threadripper. I know. How dare I? Look, we did it. We did it. We got 4 places to render. Hype.
Where is the like? Have you opened the SCR PC or something like that for the viewers to see that?
Yeah. So if you're looking on Discord, I actually have it open now.
Okay. Yeah, it was not visible on the. Oh my god. Okay, I think it's just a lot of delay, I guess.
Yeah. So that'll be fun.
Okay. So if you look at that, like currently, like all of those items are pretty close to each other, and
Right.
like it's not that great, right? Like
Right.
so if we want to add, like we ideally want to add padding around the text view, right?
Right.
So let's go back to our alter item list view and like let's do that.
Wait, hang on. Alt 1. Yeah. So you're teaching me things. All right. So right here.
I mean, if you really want to quickly switch files, press Control E.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you press Control Tab, like you would switch between files as well. Like
Yeah. I always get confused by this because instead of like I would expect it to loop back around the files, but it doesn't. It like loops into
it goes
here.
to the switcher. Yeah.
Which confused, and then like watch. So like if I do that now, I'm on the second one instead of the first. I don't get it.
Yeah, that's why I use Control E to for a quicker like mouse access, I guess. So,
Right.
Yeah. All right. So like, how do we add padding? So Compose has this concept called modifier. So if you just click on like add a new parameter to the text object, like text function, and call modifier or something like that, like they have named parameters, so it will automatically So call modifier, capital M, and So if we use some androidx.compose.ui modifier. No, not the then aspect of it, but
Sorry.
yeah. So androidx.compose.ui package from, yeah, scroll
Uh,
down. Yeah,
this one?
no, above that. Like it
Okay, I
shows
see
the
it.
package. So what modifier allows us to do is, as the name says, modify our composable function. So essentially what we can do now is like we can call modifier.padding, and we can now add padding to the our entire text view. Let's add a padding to, so these are all extension functions, so we have to import them. So we can add padding to 16.tp. Like TP is the Android, uh, uh, what do we call that?
They're
What do we
like dot
call that?
pixels. They're
Yeah,
DPI independent pixels.
yeah, exactly. Like I always forget, like, oh my god, like I forget technical terms so much.
No, you're good. Ed has harassed me enough about DP that I've had to learn what they are very precisely.
Yeah. All right. So now if we kind of run this app, like you will see that there is padding around our text objects.
Okay.
For quickly running, you can use
Oh,
the
that's right. I can use the run thing, right?
no, Control Shift F10 as well.
Control Shift F10. What do I do?
Did it run?
Man, am I
No.
pushing the wrong buttons? I don't think so. I have a really
Then use
weird
the
keyboard.
run menu, I guess.
Yeah. I will just push the button. I'm DPI independent to what now? Oh man, the delay.
It is so bad.
I know. Come on, load the thing.
Yeah, like that. Like this is one of the reasons why I had to kind of like increase my PC specifications.
Yeah.
Like I had to go all out, at least what I can build, I guess. So yeah.
Awesome. That looks way better already.
Okay. Yeah. So now we have added the padding, but like there are some kind of things we have to remember when using modifiers. Like we can change the background as well, right? Like why don't we try that?
Okay.
So let's try to apply background.
Oh, do you mean like in the list?
For the item, for individual items.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So for modifier, like we can call modifier.background, and we can pass a color. So let's go with Ed's favorite color. What is it? I don't know. Color.green, I guess. So yeah, let's go with it.
Ed liking color green, can't believe it.
I don't know. Like I'm just no, not like that. But like you can call color.
Yeah.
So let's remove that. No, just for color. See.
I'm sorry.
Remove, like just revert these changes entirely. I don't know what color you have imported, but
color.green.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah. So like you have previously imported the Android platform variant color.
Right.
So just use the Compose variant color, I guess.
Gotcha. Okay. Let me.
Yeah.
And then import.
Android X. Yeah.
There we go.
Exactly.
Okay. Awesome. Sorry about that.
So if we run this, let's see how this would look.
I'm assuming not great.
I mean, it won't look good, but like I want to specifically show you a specific kind of behavior.
Right.
So if you look at it, like we are applying background color inside the padding, right?
Right.
So what essentially it's doing is like it's kind of going in a sequential order. Like first it's applying the padding and then it's applying the background, right?
Okay.
But if you move the background in front of the padding in the list item, see how that would look like.
Oh, does it matter on the apply order? That's interesting.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay.
So whenever we can using the modifier, like we can use on click listeners and like make it different, like behave in different ways.
Wow.
But that would kind of change the behavior of it as well. So we have to make sure that we are calling it in specific orders.
Okay, that's really interesting because that's not even close to how CSS works.
Yeah, I know. Ed also seems to hate this particular part as well. So yeah.
Well, I I don't know if I like it or not, to be honest. Because, like, it kind of makes sense on a surface level, right? But
Yeah, exactly.
but like the
Like,
more I
feel
think
like
about
it
it,
makes sense.
I don't know. Yeah.
Like, I mean, like for me, like initially, like it felt like a little bit weird, but as I was working on the project, like I felt like it makes more sense like this because we want them to function in that specific order, right?
Yeah. Ed's
Yeah,
Ed's
like
response. Love this behavior.
yeah, like I don't know, like I guess like it just depends on like getting used to it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely.
Yeah,
This would take me a while to get used to. That's interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
and like and even if you look at it right now, like the text view is not expanding for the entire width of the screen, right?
Right.
So we can use modifiers for that. So we can call fill max width.
Awesome.
Can you import the DP as well, please?
Oh, I didn't. Oh, I didn't realize that I had to. Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
No, I think like you must have formatted the code.
Yeah, I must
and
have deleted
must
it.
Have, like, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's. There we go.
And also,
That's a
yeah,
little more
format-
readable.
Yeah, like I was gonna say format the code.
So we don't just have one line of code that's like 300 characters long.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so let's rerun this, and then we can see how pretty the app looks. You better be careful, Sasi. I'm on my way to take your job.
Yeah.
This definitely compares to the app you just built, right? Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So like if you move the padding below the fill max width, now let's see how that would look like. Like even that gets affected by like how it would look and function. Like so all of these modifier elements kind of depend on like what kind of order we are placing them in.
Right.
Did it change?
It's reloading right now.
Ah, okay.
I think.
I thought it had already reloaded. Can you rerun it?
Yeah, here.
Oh no. Okay, yeah, no man. Yeah, it is working as expected.
Oh, okay.
Fill max width and fill max height are like kind of it fills to whatever width is available, right? So it doesn't matter on like whether or not we have applied padding, I guess. So padding will apply to the text inside it.
Gotcha.
So the color and the field of it doesn't change.
Gotcha.
But
gotcha.
like if you place it in a box or something like that, I guess like that would change, like a card or something like that.
All right, fine.
So like now you can move the padding to the top of the like for the box modifier dot and we don't have to specifically call it a named parameter as well. Like sometimes like for most of the components like modifier is the primary variable, so we don't have to specifically call modifier equal to as well.
Interesting. Oh, it is the first one. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, but like for text it's not the primary element, I think. For text,
Right.
text is the primary one, modifier is the secondary.
Right, makes sense.
Yeah.
So you can call them either by name or by order.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
So if you look at it now, like the padding is applied to the box and it is filling the max width of whatever the
Right.
card is allowing, right?
And
like the box is allowing it.
And actually, just to show chat exactly what's
Yeah.
going on, we can set.
Red,
Yep,
red.
capital R. My bad.
Yeah.
We can show them what it would look like with a box with red color.
Did it launch?
It did.
Wait, why wasn't it working? Oh, okay, yeah. So I think it's
Oh.
because the height of the element, I guess. So yeah. So
Yeah,
it would work now.
because padding was being applied before the background. I'm sure Ed
Yeah.
is going to use that as leverage for his argument.
Yeah.
But see,
Point
look at how
made.
quickly I discovered it, you know?
Yeah. Like we have to kind of make sure that like it will get we have to get used to this particular approach, I guess, but yeah.
So, is there a way to move this modifier logic into a variable?
Oh yeah, yeah. We can do that. Like we can pass modifier to a different like why don't you pass modifier as a parameter from the alt items, right? Like we can do that if you want to.
Oh, we could even do
So
this.
yeah.
Oh.
So then we can use that particular modifier to change them. So we can call modifier dot and we can apply whatever behavior we want it to.
Yeah.
And but you do have to remember is whatever behavior we made the setting for the alter items list will also affect the each individual item as well. Like,
Right.
so you have to be careful on like what you are doing there, unless you are pretty sure what you're doing.
Well, and also what I was wondering is like, so this would remind me of like inline styling with HTML and CSS, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
what we would usually do, even in like React, we would have something like val container.
Yeah, we can do that.
Modifier.
So like probably not as a global variables. Like you can place it inside the function itself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Is there a reason why we wouldn't want to make that a global?
I mean, like, so the thing is, like, it's mainly because the Kotlin code will be converted to the JVM, right?
Right.
So, I don't know, like, it feels like it's not that good to have these kind of things as a static variables, I guess. So, yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Ideally, we want to scope it to the composable function, right? So.
Right. Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then,
so,
yeah.
like, now we have created our list item, right? Like, why don't we generate more items so that we can perhaps see the scrolling behavior of it?
Okay. How do we do that?
Let's add more items to our alt items list.
Okay. Let's remove this.
No, I'm talking about like in the ultra item, like we have our cities names, right?
Oh, let's add more.
items here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
For item Sacramento represent. Dallas, Texas represent.
Seattle.
Yes. Man, we're lots of. Hang on. We have a lot of people from Ontario, which is not a city. I don't think. I don't know. Don't judge me. I'm sorry. Ed, where do you live? Actually, I know where he lives, but I'm not gonna type it in here. Place 2. You can tell we're starting to run out of names. La La Land.
I mean, there are a lot of city names and you already ran out of names, Kobe.
Yes, Boo Boo, I'm sorry for misnaming your city.
Alright, yeah, I think this should be fine, I guess. Like, I don't think people should know that you don't know names of cities.
Look. It's don't put me on the spot. It's there we go. We'll do this. How about this?
Yeah, I guess this would be fine. Like, let's see, like if we run it, like if we get a scrolling behavior.
Okay. Oh, it's Ontario. I misspelt it. Got it. Good.
Oh, no.
There's not enough.
We
Hang
need
on.
more items.
Here's what we'll do.
You know what? Like, let's do this. Like, you are clearly bad at naming things. So yeah, I was gonna suggest that.
Perfect. Flawless. Beautiful. Our testing data includes the word Ontario misspelled 3 times.
Yeah, not just once, but 3 mistakes.
Okay,
can you scroll it?
No, I cannot.
Yeah. Now we can use another modifier to do that. Because we are
really?
using a column, we can we can use a modifier for the column.
Okay.
And we can call modifier dot scroll. Scrollable? Scrollable, yeah. I mean, we don't have to pass true or anything like that. Just mark it as scrollable.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, call the function. Yeah. Is it asking for any parameters? So
yes.
Yeah. You know what? Like, can you remove the scrollable and see like if there is a vertical scrollable or something like that?
Vertical scroll.
No. Okay. Call remember scroll state. No, pass the
Oh,
variable
sorry,
inside
sorry.
the vertical. Yeah. Scroll state. Yeah. Or
There we go.
scrollable state. Okay. Change the vertical scroll to scrollable, and change the remember scroll state to scrollable state. Remember scrollable. Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. Is there a different parameter? Orientation vertical, right? Yeah. Orientation equal to orientation dot vertical. Yeah. So now we can scroll vertically.
No value passed for parameter consume scroll data.
Scroll level.
Here.
You know what? Like use no. Can you use instead like vertical? Maybe we can use vertical scroll, I guess.
Okay.
Huh. Oh no. Okay, yeah. Use vertical scroll. I remember why it's not working.
And what am I calling? What am I
Remember
passing?
scroll state. Remember scroll state. Okay,
Okay.
yeah. It's not asking for anything, right?
Nope.
Okay, cool.
It's not asking
we should
me.
have been we should have been using lazy column for that. But yeah.
Gotcha. Yay, we did it.
So like it is pretty easy to build a basic list view with that, right? But
Yes.
let's say we have more items, so we can use a lazy column for that. So what lazy column does is, like, instead of rendering all the items, like what's happening here is like it's rendering all the items in the column at once.
Mm-hmm.
So but what lazy column does is like it will lazily render the items, I guess. So yeah.
Gotcha.
So replace the column with lazy column. Yeah. And just remove the entire like column modifier and everything, and copy the ultra items list into there. Yeah, remove the to do as well, perhaps.
Does not like box.
No, because lazy column is kind of like a DSL. So is that it? Yeah. So lazy item is kind of like a DSL. So
Oh, okay. So we need
instead of using the for loop for each,
Yeah.
we can do this. So go above that and just call items. Yeah, and just use the items list one. Yeah, and pass in our ultra items list.
Okay.
And now open a curly braces like outside of it, I guess. Yeah, and yeah, it's pretty much just our for loop, right? Now we can pass it here. So we can remove.
And then I can pass.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So like if you run it now, like we don't have to manually call our scroll and everything like that. Like everything works, and it also lazily loads the items. So no matter if we have hundreds or thousands of items,
yeah,
it will be performant, right?
Very
so yeah.
cool. Yeah. So I'm noticing that I can't use my scroll wheel, which like that's like super minor, but like I am able to do that on like GitShark. Is that something that's like built in, or is that something that I'd have to add manually? Or
I'm not exactly sure. Like it's probably because like they probably haven't added that particular feature. I don't know. Like I haven't actually tested with that. Like maybe I should have tested with that. Like I have tried it on Visor and it seemed to have worked. I don't know. Like I don't particularly use mouse wheel that much for the emulator or these things scrolling.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. But yeah, like basically, this is how we kind of build with Compose.
Yeah.
So, like, if we were to kind of build it with a like much more state management kind of thing, like where we have a button which will add items as to our existing list, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do we do that? Like in that scenario, like we should be kind of remembering it like as in a state object. So Compose will has these functions called mutable state, like for state that needs to be changed, and state of for any non-mutable states. I think it's fine, yeah.
Well, I actually want to make a commit so that I can, here, boom. I want to say unversion files, yeah, all this stuff. Got an ugly list to render. I am happy about this, though. Alright, commit.
So, yeah, like...
performing code analysis? What?
Yeah, like, I think you have that checked on.
Oh, no.
Probably somewhere. So, yeah.
Commit.
Commit.
Awesome. Alright.
Yeah. So, like, if you want to do that, like, one way we need to do that is like using state objects.
Okay.
So if you remember the documentation we have seen in the developer.android.com, it mentions about like state of or mutable state of things like that, right?
Right.
So essentially, that's how Composable kind of tracks the state changes. Like currently, this is a we can call this a stateless composable function, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily change the state of the widget, like composable functions as we load or anything like that.
Right.
But if we want to react to a state, then we need to use a state property.
Okay.
So create a view model class. Like just create a class called ultra items list view model or something like that. No, create a separate file
okay.
for
Gotcha.
that. Like,
Sorry.
Yeah, like instead of having all of this in one file, let's try to separate it out. So extend the view model class. No, use the colon.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, view model. Yeah, and initialize it.
I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
All right. So now, like in the current example, we have done a list of showing a list of items, right?
Right.
Why don't we do this? Like, let's do a simple. Let's show an empty list at first, and show an error message that there are no items.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we will have a fab floating action button, and as we click on that, we will add item 1, item 2, item 3, depending on like whatever the list size may be.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So let's do that. For that, like in this example, we will use a live data.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So there is a specific format I want you to create. Can you go to the developer.android.com?
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of like me trying to explain it, like I feel like it would be much more easier to just copy the code. Let me just find it once and send you the link.
Awesome.
Okay, go to Jetpack Compose, like in the examples you have shown, and view docs, managing state, and go to view model and state.
Okay.
So just copy that like private val name, mutable live data, and val live data string.
This
First
one?
option, copy that and place it. You can remove the function, I guess.
Remove the on name change.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and use the live data. Import the live data and mutable live data.
Gotcha.
I think it's adding the dependency as well, but yeah. So, but in this example, we want it to be a list, right?
Right.
Yeah. So remove that and place a list, I guess. So yeah. List of string, because like here we want it to, here type inference doesn't work, right? So yeah.
Right. And then
So
we'll call this places.
Yeah. No, items, I guess, because we are no longer using places, right?
Right.
So,
That's true.
Yeah. So what it, like, why we are placing it as two different things here is we don't want to expose a mutable variable outside of our view model scope.
Okay.
So we are kind of encapsulating mutable data to the we are encapsulating non-mutable data outside of the view model scope.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then
Like I feel like we're getting too technical, but yeah.
No, because so I was actually thinking of the same thing of like, so in Angular there's this concept of well, actually it's not even just Angular, but like RxJS, right? I'm sure you're familiar with like some reactive libraries, like probably Rx Java or something like that, right? The idea is that you can have like a subject, and the subject allows you to emit values, but you don't want to expose that subject to your model or your view. You want to expose the observable. So you do something very similar where you have your subject that you can mutate and then the data that you don't want to. And then we'll add something like a function here where it's like fung on add, and it'll be like items dot push. I don't actually know. I'm sorry.
So we have to
items
so
dot. Is there
value
a value
equal to? Yeah, you can use the value equal to and pass in a new, like read that and add a new item, right? So yeah.
Okay. So how I don't actually know the syntax for this.
Yeah, like we can call underscore items dot value dot.
Is it like
Why
concat?
is this nullable? Why is this a nullable item?
I don't know.
This is weird. You know what? Like, create a new inside this onAdd function. Create a variable called items list, mutable list of items, equal to mutable list of. No, use the smaller syntax like mutable list of.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it will be a string, right? So yeah, and in the next line.
Something like that. No. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess like that can work. Use that or empty, like call or empty value dot or empty. So what we are doing is, because Kotlin is null safe, we can ideally call. We should not be calling it like that, but we'll get to that, I guess. Not like that. Like remove that and like cut, copy that or empty part, and in the next line call items list dot add all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, and also remove that semicolon, please. Oh
I'm sorry. Old habits die hard.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So here we have added the existing list, right? But we also want to add new item.
Yeah.
So what we can do is, like, we can get the size of the existing list and then add +1 to it and name it as a string, right?
Right.
Oh no, what are you doing? You're like, right?
You don't seem happy about this.
No, not at all. Create a new variable, I guess.
Fine. Val new new num equals items list dot size +1. You know I'm right.
We can. That won't work. That won't work. So items dot value is expecting a list of items, right?
Yeah.
So we have to add an item, and pass this particular string. So yeah.
And then underscore items dot value equals items list, something like that.
Yeah. Cool. So there is a easier way to do this, but I guess like this works for now.
What is the easier way to do this?
I don't know. Like, yeah, there might be an easier way, like, but I cannot think now.
Okay, sounds good. I mean, I don't mind the code being a little messy, especially since I've never done Jetpack before, you know?
Yeah, like, it's mainly related to using the Kotlin functions, I guess, but yeah. I guess, like, this works for now.
I mean, it's easy enough to read, you know?
Yeah, I guess. So, yeah. All right.
Okay.
So, we have this, right? Like, now, let's go back to our list class. So remove this code entirely. No, just use the function, like code inside the function, like remove the code inside the function.
Oh.
Yeah. So let's use a thing called scaffold. So ideally, like in Android apps, like we would have this app bar, floating action button, and bottom navigation, things like all of these things, right?
Right.
So one of the easiest way we can do that is using a scaffold. Like it's part of the material library.
Okay.
Do you want me to send the name for it?
Yeah,
Or-
sure. Okay.
All right. So yeah, like don't use that trailing lambdas for it. We will get to that. Like remove the trailing lambdas.
Okay.
So if you go inside the scaffold parameters, like we will have app bar, chair, body, and things like that. I think it's requiring you to add certain parameters. Like probably just add required parameters first. Press Alt Enter, and you should be able to. Yeah.
Oh,
No, not like that. Just press Alt Enter inside it.
Yeah, that's what Alt Enter does.
Oh wow. Then just add to body. Body, I guess. Like, is it body or content?
I thought it was content.
Oh, content equal to that. So now we can place the trailing lambdas inside here.
Oh, right.
So-
Okay.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, like I mean, like we don't have to use all of those things. Like, why don't we place a floating action button, the next parameter inside the scaffold?
Okay. Like that?
Yeah, like let's create our floating action button now.
Okay.
Like if I told you the name, like let's see if you can just quickly identify the item and place it, I guess.
Okay. Is it literally just floating action button?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
And then on click
So-
will be
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Like just leave it as the lambda items for now. Like it won't be like that, but yeah.
okay.
So what like I think you might be used to the JS void.
I totally am.
But, yeah, but like we can just directly pass the lambda like curly braces like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So inside the floating action button trailing lambdas, like we can place our icon.
Okay.
So why don't we place an icon? Use the image vector one.
Image vector.
Image vector.
Sorry, I'm
Icon.
trying to figure out where it is.
Go to the top, icon, image vector, and it shows
Oh, this one. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
So the reason for that is like compose material icons ships with bunch of material icons.
Mhm.
So we can call icons dot filled or outline or like any of those like capital FIL. Capital F, yeah.
Okay.
Fill dot and we can call start with capital letters and we can call add, right? Yeah, add.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's it.
I think it's interesting that it knows how to auto import. Speaking of, there we go.
Yeah, and let's place content description as like add item. Yeah. All right. So yeah, that's it. And now let's try to run our app and see how it looks.
Awesome. Hang on, let me add the view back.
Hopefully people are finding it interesting, I guess.
Oh yeah. No, honestly, man, forget chat. I'm excited. This is cool. I've wanted to get into like native Android dev for a while now, so like this is like exciting. Look, it's a button and it has
Yeah.
ripples, and I didn't have to add 800 imports to make it happen.
Yeah, so like okay, now like I'm going to show you an interesting thing. It's probably not useful in a lot of scenarios. Like let's use modifiers to change the shape of the floating action button.
Yo,
parameters.
heck yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So use a modifier. Modifier dot shape. We can call modifier dot shape. Small s. Yeah. Shape.
Oh, sorry.
Is there a shape parameter? I don't think so.
No, I don't see it.
Okay. Okay. Let's see if there is a shape parameter for the floating action button itself.
Yep.
Oh yeah, there is. So here you can call it as let's see. Let's use a rounded rectangle perhaps. Remove the shape one.
Yeah, because
Like, remove that and
I'm
call-
importing from the wrong place, huh?
Yeah.
Because I need to
Use
import.
a rounded rectangular shape, I guess. Yeah, rounded corner shape, I guess. So, rounded corner shape.
Okay.
Yeah. So, let's say we want to only apply rounded corners on only top. Okay, yeah, 12 dp works, I guess, like 16 dp. Run it and see how it looks. Like
Alright.
it should be a square with a 16 dp radius, right?
Right. Right.
So, like this is so much easier in Compose compared to like our previous versions, right? Like
Right.
all the ripples work, shadows, like shadow will be exactly like that, things like that.
Mhm.
I feel like Compose is much more easier to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely impressed by, like, I mean, this, so, chat, this may seem super simple to just add a floating action button, but I, like, even in like, JavaScript ecosystem, like, this is not an easy API to implement for a lot of systems without, like, framework support. So, like, the fact that it's like, look, native code, you're done, that's it, you're done, have fun, haha! Like, you know, that's so cool on its own.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So let's now like, go back to our adding our content, I guess.
Okay.
Like in our content, like we can call our lazy column, right?
Mm-hmm.
So before we do that, like we need to get access to our view model, right?
Right.
So one way we can do is like create a variable called view model inside our function, view model, and we can use Kotlin delegates for this.
Okay.
So maybe you can read up on it, but like let's use view model by, or you know what? Let's use view model equal to, I guess. Yeah, I guess like that can work. I don't know. This seems weird.
Is it, like, capital E?
No, like just like go back to remove the equal. Let's start. Yeah, view model.
Okay. The top one?
Yeah, top one. And we need a date. Like it requires a type, right? So we can pass like use the generic, I guess. Yeah. Did it work?
I have no
Or is
idea.
it showing an error?
It's not showing anything. It seems
Okay,
like
yeah.
it's worked.
All right, cool. And remove that semicolon.
I'm sorry. This whole stream has been Corbin, remove the stupid semicolon.
Yeah. So
Should we rename this? Because it seems like it has the same name here. Wouldn't that be bad?
no, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine like that. So one way we can like we need to access to our live data, right? Like it needs to react to the state as well.
Right.
So we can call in the next line we can name it as I don't know, like what did we name our items list, right? Like yeah, we can call items list equal to view model dot we will get access to our items and call dot observe as state.
Observe as what?
As state. And close the maybe we require oh yeah, I think we require some what do we call that? Oh my god, I forgot. Dependency for it. So let me just send you one.
Okay.
I've sent you two. Let's see like if those are present in your build Gradle files, and
Okay.
let's update that. Build Gradle, like in the Gradle.
Yep. Sorry. I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah.
All right.
So
runtime.
probably one of them is already available, right?
Yeah. The
Lifecycle
context
run
is.
package, yeah. We can
Okay.
remove that, and yeah, like let's sync it and see. That should provide our import.
Okay.
Let's go back to it and see.
There we
Yeah.
go. Awesome.
Cool. So now what it does is like every time the item list update, like item list live data updates, it will automatically recompose. It will automatically recompose the list. So now we can use the lazy compose and call the list item.
Okay, hang on. Sorry, I have to disable a reward because someone's redeemed a singing reward right now, and we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Ed, can you refund Anubis, please? Anubis, thank you for joining. Good work on trolling the stream. Anyways, okay, sorry.
Like let's move our list to a separate function, perhaps.
Let's
rename this function to ultra item screen.
Okay. Are we renaming this?
Yeah, because we ideally want components to be kind of break it down into smaller composable functions, right? Like that's what Android team recommends as well. Like because it's easier to manage as well.
Oh, the file name is still named incorrectly. Hang on. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So like in the same class, like we can create a different function called this will be renamed. Different function called like probably below the ultra item screen, because ultra item screen is the top function, right?
Right. I just didn't know if there was like an issue with
So we can call ultra items list.
Right. Awesome.
So now we can create our lazy column here. So but we don't have access to our pets here, right?
Right.
And ideally we don't want to call view model, like we don't want to create view model again, and we don't want to observe it as state again, right?
So we'll pass it as a parameter.
We can simply pass the parameter. So like remember when we showed the diagram early, like during the start of the stream, where we want to move a state up to the top of the like component that kind of gets the state, right?
Right.
So that's what we are doing here, right? Like our ultra item screen gets the state and we are passing it down to the ultra items list.
Right.
So let's pass in the parameter items list colon and list of items, ultra item, like I guess. No, use the type, right? Yeah.
Yep. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
And then we'll do lazy column.
Lazy column.
And then we'll do items. And then we'll do.
Can you import that particular? Yeah.
Box.
Maybe we should have copied that. You know what? We can use the local editor of the ID, right? Or do you want to construct it entirely?
I mean, I think we're actually.
We can use the item, right? Like.
Yeah. There we go.
Okay, and probably just apply a padding and that should be fine. We can also remove the box as well, like.
Yeah, we don't really need that.
We can just apply padding to the text view, right? Like the box was merely just for showing you how the modifiers work, I guess.
Modifier dot padding.
Someone asks, is this Python? No, it's a Kotlin.
Yes.
So it's Kotlin language, and we are trying out Jetpack Compose.
Yeah. So this is Sasi. Sasi Kanth is like sincerely an amazing Android developer. We're honestly so lucky to be able to have him join us today. Go follow him on Twitch. He's got some awesome live streams. Go follow him on Twitter. He makes like 13 apps a week, I swear. It feels like it sometimes. Because like I was talking with Ed about this, and I was like, dude, I've built GitShark in like 12 months. I swear you've had like 18 updates to like what was the app you've been working on? The Pinit. Yeah, I swear you've had 18 updates in Pinit in the past year, and I've had maybe one. It's upsetting, man.
I mean, I guess like because the GitShark is really high scope than what Pinit is, right? Like,
I don't know. So, anyways, I think you're just like better at making apps than I am, which is fair. So, and then I assume we'll need to put ultra list items in the scaffold.
Yeah, like we need to pass it as the content, right?
Right. What did I do?
Just pass it in, like in the pad, like you have opened those curly braces for the content, right? So just pass it in there.
Right, and that's what I'm doing, but it's saying that the typing is wrong. It's not list item, it's state list.
I was seeing the stream, so there was a lot of delay, I guess.
Yeah, no,
don't do that.
No,
don't do that.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can call items list dot value.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, and because it complains, it's a nullable, right? But what you can do is the observe as
so I realized that we made a problem in the view. We have a
like,
string.
just change it to string, I guess. Like that works, right?
Right. Yeah. Sorry about that.
In the string, yeah. Yeah, it's fine. So in the observers, like like currently it's complaining it's a nullable value passing down to a non-nullable value, right?
Yeah.
So what it is like observer state by default, if no value is passed inside its parameters, will take it as nullable. So in the observer state function,
Okay.
if you go into the parameters, like if you hover over it, it will show you like any default values, I guess, like, or go into that function, honestly.
Oh, okay. Open it.
Yeah. Probably not here.
Initial.
There is, okay. Yeah. So you can just override the initial value. Just pass in an empty list. Empty list.
Oh, is it just called empty list?
Yeah, you can call empty list.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was a thing. Okay.
Yeah, it will infer a type, and yeah, like now everything works, right?
Yeah.
All right. Now let's see.
Awesome.
Let's try to.
Oh, you know what? We didn't add our on click.
Yeah, we haven't added that, so we will get to that. Like, let's run the app and see like if it's working.
I mean, if nothing else, it'll render, but I don't think it'll render anything because it's just defaulting.
It won't render.
To,
it won't render anything. Like, I just want to see like there is no issues. I guess.
Sounds good. Anubis, I'll be back when the song Redeem is back. Hey, all right, sounds good, Anubis. Chat wants me to sing at the most inconvenient times. They're like, hey, Corbin, it's 3 a.m. Go ahead and sing as loud as you can. Wake up your roommate. Do it.
Okay. So this is working, right?
Yep.
All right. Now let's move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So
now for the
let's
exciting
add our
stuff.
on click, right?
Yep.
We can simply call our view model dot on click on add, right? So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And we'll rerun.
Like, let's see if that works. Hopefully it should. If not, we have to debug the app.
Hey.
Good, it works.
And it doesn't scroll.
It doesn't?
No.
Oh yeah, we haven't added the remember scroll state, right?
Oh, wait, but I thought lazy column did that by default.
Can you open lazy column once?
Yeah.
It should. Where is that? Scrollable. Yeah. That is weird. It should do that.
Because you can even see my finger moving.
Yeah. I'm just trying to understand like what's happening. I did not expect that. Previously it worked with just the lazy column, right?
Yeah.
That is weird.
Interesting.
Try stopping the app entirely and rerunning it again.
Yeah, totally.
It should work. Like, lazy column is the thing that we should be using.
I'm wondering if there's some issue maybe with passing in items list.value that's not causing a re-render or something?
No. I mean, I don't think that will be a problem. Like, that is how we will be doing that.
Or maybe it's that. I'm also wondering if
the app again?
Yeah, it was reran. I'm also wondering if it has something to do with.
Did you added all of those items again?
Yes. Yeah, I redid it. I'm wondering if it has something to do with scaffold. Because maybe scaffold doesn't allow you to.
Can you go to the main activity once?
Sorry, what?
Can you go to the main activity?
Yeah.
Okay, here we're just placing. Okay. Yeah, go back to the ultra item screen and.
Because maybe scaffold, like the floating action button is overlaying and preventing me from clicking on anything, you know?
I don't think that will be possible.
I'm just guessing, to be honest.
You know what? Like, remove the scaffolding once and like probably. Yeah, remove the scaffolding and entirely and just place all of this inside a box, perhaps.
Yeah. Here,
like,
I'll comment that out.
The content will be overlapping. Yeah, but yeah, at least like we can try it out and see, I guess.
Oh, right. I need to rerun it.
Yeah.
No? Oh, yes. It does scroll now.
Oh, okay.
Oh!
Yeah, it's because of the padding. Like, you haven't
Yes!
filled the max width. Oh
Right.
my god. Yes.
I forgot to do the max width. That's my bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just set the max width to the lazy column itself, or like
Okay.
the item, the individual item, I guess.
Modifier.
We already have modifier, right?
Yeah.
No, for individual item, right? We have to do it for individual
Oh,
item.
okay. Okay. So put it on the text.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dot fill max width.
Awesome. That makes more
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, because we didn't have any background colors, like it was harder to kind of look at it.
There we go.
Yeah, but like we also wanted a error state, like when the items like there are no items, right?
Right.
Let's try to add that.
Okay.
Like let's create a new composable function called ultra items error or something like that, or no ultra items.
Actually, I'll move this down below.
Yeah.
Because fun no ultra items.
Yeah. And we can simply pass in a text view, right? Like we just need a small text like, yeah.
Are no items yet.
Hmm.
Something like that?
And yeah. And what we can do is like we can conditionally place, like decide between ultra items list or no ultra items, right?
Okay.
So how we can do that is simple. Like we can have a if condition. So if you can move the items list dot value to a variable inside the function, right? Because we need to check the whether or not items are present. No, go to the ultra item screen function,
Okay.
and we have items list dot value, right? Yeah.
Sorry. Val items value.
Yeah.
And then we'll do
if items list dot is not empty.
Oh.
You can use is not empty.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can have that, or else we can have the no
Awesome.
ultra items.
I really like that this is just if statements, because like I don't know, I have an interesting like feeling with like JSX being able to do the same thing, so
Yeah.
that's really interesting. Okay.
So let's see, like
Yeah.
it shows there are no items, right? So
There
yeah,
we go. Yeah.
Like-
Super cool.
like this is really simple. Like here we are essentially constructing our UI based on the state we are passing into the function, right? Like previously in Android, like we had to modify the state, like we have to set visibility of one item to gone and set visibility of another item to visible. You don't have to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is really nice. And I one of the things that I like is that this this ability to inject multiple different so in React, this pattern is very, very common for passing in multiple like JSX nodes to a parent node. So this is really interesting. This is really cool to be able to take some of the knowledge that I know and apply it elsewhere.
Yeah, and I know you like rounded corners, so probably let's make our screen rounded corners. Go to main activity.
Yeah. Here, I'm gonna hijack this, and then we'll go to the main activity.
Yeah, and all you have to do is like surface has a shape, so we can change that.
Yo.
Yeah. So if you can run that, like it is just that easy.
Yo. I like me some rounded corners.
Hopefully this will work.
I just reloaded.
Didn't.
I don't seem to see the rounded corners.
Huh.
Maybe theme view
Why
is
is
providing
that?
something because
No,
I'm
not
setting
that.
surface.
Not that. Probably I'm forgetting something. Let me take a look.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, weird. It should have been working
No
correctly.
worries.
You know what? Like, let's try this. Change the surface color to colors.primary, like on the top one,
Yep.
right? And remove that shape. And like wrap the ultra item screen in another surface. Like I'm guessing, like what I'm guessing is like Android by default, like light theme already has light background, right?
Yeah.
So it's probably because of that. Like use the color and use surface color now. I mean, it will always be like, you don't have to specifically set a surface background, I guess.
Right.
It will be surface already. So
And
remove
then-
that color, like it will already be surface.
Oh, okay. And then we'll add the modifier again.
Shape.
Or shape.
Yeah. Shape equal to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's see that.
So let's try running it. Like I think this will work.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I just don't think... Because, like, otherwise you'd have to have some system-level shape. But, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah, like previously, like it was kind of annoying, I guess, like to do this. Like it was possible, but it was kind of not that this easy.
Right. Yeah, this is really cool.
So, yeah.
Man.
So,
I feel like
yeah,
we got
like-
so much done today. Like this has been, like... I've very rarely have I walked into a brand new piece of technology and been able to get something working so quickly. Because I guarantee you that if I had just read the docs, I would have been like, why is this stupid thing not working? Like, it would have, like, upset me and, like...
Yeah, I mean, I guess like that's true for everyone, right? Like,
Yeah.
I guess like it's always good to have that. But yeah, like I would suggest like going through the docs I have shown you, like the Jetpack Compose docs, and like reading through the state management things and things like that. I don't think I've covered a lot of topics because of the time constraints, but yeah,
Right.
like there are some amazing, interesting stuff that are written in the docs, and I think like you would find that like really useful.
Yeah, no, this is a fantastic starting point, though. This is really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Well, I think this is a pretty good place to wrap up. And I know
Yeah.
it's super. Isn't it like midnight or like 1 a.m. for you now?
Yeah, it's funny now.
Oh man, thank you so much for helping with this. This has been like legitimately. I don't think we could have done a better demo if we had scripted it. so massive kudos to your speaking ability, and obviously your engineering chops are unparalleled. So definitely appreciate you being on.
Thank you. Yeah, not a problem. Yeah, anytime.
All right, gang. Well, chat, it has been wonderful having you. And then we'll catch you all next time. All right.
Right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.